Previously on Relatables Baddies Book Club.
I think that Feyre is going to become a beacon of hope.
For
Prithian,
everyone?
For all of Prithian and the mortal lands. I think that Feyre is going to become... She's going to have the power of all 7 High Lords. I think Rhysand's going to train her. Obviously going to become her... They're going to get married. And I think that Tamlin, I'm standing with it. Tamlin is sided with Highburn.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I think that basically the Autumn Court, that the Spring Court, I don't know much about the other courts, are going to go on and side with Highburn, and then the rest will be together. But I think that Feyre is going to be the beacon of light.
Okay. Oi, I have like a curveball.
Okay.
Imagine, right? Oh, maybe. Imagine. So she's going to start having sex with Rhysand,
Obviously.
but she's also still having sex with Tamlin.
So she's not going to go back.
No. But I reckon she'll go back.
No.
At all? You don't reckon she's ever going to go back?
No.
Ooh, I got to disagree with you there. I reckon she'll go back. Oh, she'll go back to have to say something to Tamlin to get closure, I reckon, and they'll have sex one more time. That's my call. And I reckon, my curveball was, imagine she got pregnant and Tamlin tries to claim it, but it's actually Rhysand's.
Welcome to Relatables Baddies Book Club, where we will embark on a journey reading some of the finest pieces of literature you have ever laid eyes, or ears, if that's your preferred way to consume a book, on.
Oh, no.
A Court of Mist and Fury. Chapters 14 to 24.
And Jake, this book, man, I'm addicted.
No. All I think about is like yum.
I was enjoying myself prior to these chapters.
Yeah.
But these chapters,
Yeah.
I'm going to say it, life-changing.
Yeah. Honestly, though, like I feel like it's like shit's gone down.
Yeah.
But I feel like shit hasn't gone down yet.
Yeah,
like
we haven't gone downtown, have we?
We're getting to a point where it's gonna get down and dirty, but like we're in this like the foreplay zone.
Yeah.
I'm so,
I'm so
fucking
excited.
I tell you what, I'm not gonna lie. Like I just feel so giddy when I read it.
So do I. I don't want to give too much away before we get into it, but I love the new characters.
Yep.
And I love the character development. And the thing I'm liking the least is Feyre.
Same. Not gonna lie, same. I can't. I gotta be honest.
But she's going to get good. We know that. She's gonna get good.
She's obviously gonna get good.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I am actually starting to like her more. I like near the end of these chapters, I've started to like her more.
I think the way to describe it is she's a slow burn.
Very,
very slow.
Yeah, very slow burn. And I feel as though that Sarah Janet Maas did that on purpose.
Yeah, we figured that out. Janet.
Sarah Janet Maas. But guys, I asked in the book club, if you're not in it, on Instagram.
The Instagram channel.
Go get into it. So I asked in there, what song best describes our boy Rhysand?
Woo! He's better be sexy.
Okay, so here's the thing. We want to play the songs, but problem is we can't play them on Spotify and YouTube, or else the episodes get taken down.
Copyright laws.
So what we're going to do is read out the songs, and then we are going to actually play the songs.
A little bit techie, but if you're on Patreon, you're going to be able to hear the songs. But if you're on Spotify, we're just going to say them.
Yes. And on Patreon, remember, this episode that you're listening to right now, it came out on Monday on Patreon. So if you want it early
and now
with songs,
bit juicier, head on over there. It's only $5 a month.
It is only $5 a month. So how should I do this? Should I say a song and then play it, and then just like...
You're going to be, everyone listening, this is the first time Jake's edited an episode in like
Long
2
time.
years. So this is up to you, bro.
Okay, so it is what it is. It's going to be up to me to figure out.
Say the song, we react and play it.
Yeah. Okay. So, what song best describes our boy Rhysand? Daddy's Home.
Ooh, who's that by?
Okay. Daddy's Home. You know that song's like, Daddy's Home.
Yeah.
Home for me. So let's play a little bit of Daddy's Home. Yeah. That song really does. Oh, okay. Is this it? Wait, that song was playing behind him when he crashes the wedding. He's so, fuck me. Okay. Next up is, so this person said, in general, Akatar. as a whole series in general,
Yeah.
is Luminary.
Okay.
That's all this. That's the all the AI montages.
Yes,
have
that's
that
what
song.
it is.
Okay, next up, Control by Halsey.
Ooh,
I don't know if I can picture that one.
I love a bit of Halsey.
We
though.
won't do too many because this could take forever.
Yeah, do a one or two more after.
Control by Halsey. Here we go.
This would be good because it's like a reaction. I don't know what it is either.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that works.
It's like I'm a boss and I know it.
yeah, that works. Okay, that works.
Give us one or two more.
Okay, we'll do two more. About Love by Marina is Faye Sand's song.
Okay.
About Love. I'm not even going to finish it.
No,
I'm sorry. That didn't hit.
That's given. Yeah, that's like I'm walking my dog like in the
Yeah.
sun.
So that was from Steph Threadgold.
Oh.
Apologies, Steph Threadgold. That didn't
Yeah,
hit.
that didn't hit at
Okay,
all.
last one. Fuck, there's a lot. Okay. Last one, though, because I'm going to do the top. So it's called This Side of Paradise.
Okay. I like when we don't know it.
Yeah. This Side of Paradise. You're not going to lie. I'm actually going to say that's a yes from me.
I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Yeah, no, I feel like that's how Resam makes me feel. So that doesn't
I
really
see
describe
it.
him.
I see it, but disagree. I would play Big X in the Plug. I'm the biggest, the largest.
Oh, you know, but
Very
what
boy
was the
answer.
one? That first one.
I like the Halsey one. Daddy's Home was the first one.
Daddy's
But
Home.
Halsey surprised me.
Halsey did surprise me.
Yeah.
That suits him. But
Yeah.
Daddy's Home, literally 100% when he just winnows in to the wedding.
Daddy's
And he's like,
home.
and so it's like, Daddy's home. And
Instead
then it
of,
quiets down, right?
"Hello,
It'll quiet
Farah."
down.
Yeah.
And it quiets down. He goes, hello, Farah, darling. And there's hope for me. So, okay, I'm sorry to the Spotify listeners and the YouTube watchers, but it's
I
actually
like
kinda-
that. I really like that. I think
Yeah.
we can do it with Farah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, let's do it with Farah.
That one's going to be a mixed bag of lollies.
Yeah, it will be a mixed bag of lollies, but I'm keen for character development.
Yeah. But,
But
we said that at the same time. We are up
guys.
to chapter 25.
so yeah, we've read chapter 24.
Yeah, we changed things up a little bit this week.
Yeah, someone said it's really annoying that you guys do that. So we actually read chapter
yeah.
24. So next week it'll be like from chapter 25 to 35.
We're learning. But before we get into it,
Yeah.
I want to say a couple things. We are both on the dramatized audio / reading at the same time vibes.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
Game changing. Man, it is good. I'm being teleported into it. Someone described it as watching a movie with subtitles, and I think it's better than that.
No, way better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
way
one
better.
thing I wanted to ask you was, you know how we figured out people called Tamlin tampon? Do you know why that is?
Okay.
Someone on Patreon plug told me.
Okay, why do people call Tamlin tampon?
Tamlin tampon. Tampon.
Tamlin.
That's a tongue twist. Actually, it's a tongue
Why do
twister.
people call Tamlin tampon? Because the only thing he's good for is going in your vagina.
Wrong. I like it though.
Yeah.
It's because on iPhones, autocorrect changes Tamlin to tampon.
Oh. That's boring. That's really boring. I thought it was because like he sucks all the life out of you or something. I don't know. That's really boring.
You got creative there.
Sorry, I haven't addressed my attire either.
Yeah, I was going to say, should we address that?
I'm just in a crazy good mood and it's cold.
Yeah. Jake's got a robe on if you're only listening.
To be fair, this is what you would read.
And
the
your
book in.
glasses.
Yeah, I don't need these.
Actually, are they for close? Like
Yeah.
reading?
They're for reading.
How the fuck do you read all the time without them on?
Oh no, I honestly I can read without them. Like I can see.
Okay.
And the doctor and so the optometrist I literally only went for headaches.
Oh, okay.
But he goes like, oh look, you do need them. Apparently, like one of my eyes overcompensates for the other, and so this is like better. But he goes like, yeah, it's not that much, but you.
What
do
would
need
you
them.
prefer, my dyslexia reading ability or wearing glasses?
This. Yeah, wearing glasses. Yeah. Right. So chapter 14.
Yes.
Oh, okay, guys. So chapter 14 was a nice little. It's almost like a little filler.
was.
To be fair, some stuff happened, but
A little bit more information.
so we ended off with, I believe we forgot to tell you that she, at the very end of chapter 13, which was again also the end of part 1,
Yes.
she was winnowed into a city, into a home that felt very homey. She didn't know whose home it was. It was like a townhouse. And then the chapter ends and part 2 starts with chapter 14.
Yes.
Part 2 starts with Rhysand saying, welcome to my home,
Welcome
Farah.
to my home.
Welcome to my home, Farah. And she's like, what? This is your home?
Yeah.
And he goes on about how So wards, I feel like we haven't really learnt too much about what wards are, but the word ward has been used a lot. And I feel as though ward is like, it's a spell. I think a ward is like a spell.
Was the ward the spell so no one else could get in other than...
So yeah, he said that this house is like heavily warded.
Yeah.
And the only people that can winnow in is Feyre when she learns how, Rhysand, and Mor. Those are the only people that can winnow in.
Yeah,
But
that was his family house.
Yeah, and only people he trusts. And then also she can winnow in people she trusts if she so pleases.
Yes.
That's if she learns how to winnow.
Yes.
Which she definitely will. And basically, this is all literally just from when she was just like taken from the Spring Court, saved. And she's like, I need to come with you.
Well, it says the chapter starts with House of Wind. And then they winnow into Rhysand's house. And they're in.
Yeah, they're in
Yeah.
Valaris.
Valaris.
Because he says we're going to the city of Starlight, Valaris. And at this point, she hasn't been outside. And she's like, why are we going to a city if it's just going to be ash and rubble? Because Amarantha literally crumbled everything in Prithian. And so she's like wigging out, right? And then he goes, like, they winnow in, and then there's a knock at the door.
Yeah.
And it's his inner circle. Number 1, Cassian. Number 2, Azriel. Number 3, Amrin. All right? And they're all outside going, come on, you locked us out. Come on. And
What
then
were
they're
your
chitty-chatty.
thoughts at this point before we understood who they were?
Because Asrian and it was said at this time that Cassian and Azriel were Illyrian warriors.
Yeah.
I thought, what the fuck? Because Rhysand said something about Illyrian warriors in a prior chapter, how bad they are.
Yeah.
Right? And we do go on to learn more about it, but I was like, so why is he working with them? Why are they part of his inner circle? And then Amrin, no idea, had no thoughts on. But basically he's like, oh, you can meet them now, or...
And she decides not to.
What I suggest is you go get some rest.
Yeah.
And she goes and gets some rest.
Basically saying, Feyre, you look like shit.
Yeah.
But I also liked... I don't know, it made me feel really good that they were very playful and had a lot of personality.
Cassian's got personality,
I like
bro.
Cassian. I think
Same.
he's my favorite.
Yeah, I like Cassian. I kind of, you know what I kind of like, the thing I like about Azriel is like, first of all, Feyre describes him as like the second most handsome person she's ever seen.
Mate, she said that about everyone.
Yeah, true. Where's her standards?
Yeah, I don't know.
I want Feyre to explain what I look like, just because she's so nice to everyone.
The most ugly thing I've ever seen.
Got nothing on Rhysand. But okay, so then she goes up and her 2 favorite servants are there.
Yeah.
What are their names again? I don't really remember.
Nuala.
Yeah.
And
Caradwen.
Yeah.
And Nuala.
Yeah.
And they basically just get her ready for bed and stuff. And yeah, so...
Well, she asked, she's like, who the fuck's that? And it's just like, it's Rhysand's inner circle.
Inner circle. And then he also... they ask she asks another question, I think, about... But one of them goes like, oh, it's not this is not our place to answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of that I find in this book. There's a lot of asking of a question where it's going to explain a lot.
Like, no, wait.
And then the person goes, that's not our story to tell. And it's kind of like, where's the gossip? Like, I live and breathe for gossip.
Yeah, 100%.
Fucking gossip in this book, bro.
And at the end, Feyre started to question if she will ever return to the Spring Court.
Yeah, in the end, she started to think about like... I believe she finds out in this chapter that the city that they are in, because she can see out the window, is untouched.
Yeah.
And she's like, how did Amarantha not touch this?
No, that's next chapter.
That's next chapter. Okay.
Chapter end at her asking about the inner circle.
Inner circle.
And now we're up to chapter 15.
Chapter 15. So this is the first chapter where, so she wakes up, the inner circle's gone.
Yeah.
And they get to go for a walk around the city.
It's time to explore.
It's time to explore, okay? And she goes out and she's like, it sounds like the most beautiful place I've ever seen, right?
What were you picturing?
I was picturing like here's what I was picturing Scottish vibes.
Ooh, okay.
So because I have been to Edinburgh.
Must be nice.
Old town in Edinburgh. So I was picturing old town Edinburgh.
Yeah.
But surrounded by mountains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was picturing, what's it called in Harry Potter, the scene where he gets his wand? What's that called? I was picturing that, but fancy, but like fancy cobblestone pathways. What is that
What's
called?
that called?
called?
Diagon Alley.
Yes.
Diagon Alley.
the good part.
The good part of Diagon
Yeah,
Alley, because
yeah.
there's a bad part.
Yeah.
So Diagon Alley.
But like fancier.
Okay, I'm hearing that.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that. So yeah, basically, Rhysand just gives her a tour of the city. It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
And there's like, there's a river through the city. It's also on the coast, surrounded by mountains, and the city's warm. Everyone's like wearing different things. There's different fairies, high fae, and she said that there's like cafes, and then there's 4 different like centers. Is that the right word? There's like 4 different centers, and there's one of them where it's like all meats, one of them where it's all art, one of them where it's all cafes and coffee shops, one of where it's
And it was the first time Feyre wasn't like, they didn't know who the fuck she was.
She was wigging out about who.
And no one was coming up to Rhys and being, oh my God, my lord.
Yeah, so
I
she
love
said
you.
it was very weird because no one was looking at her crying.
Yeah.
Even though she said, even though she was with Rhysand, like
A couple of people came up to Rhys and was like, what's up, bro?
They shake his hand,
Yeah.
and Rhysand knows everyone by name.
Yeah.
And basically, they're going for a walk, and then she learns about how I love it how he goes. So that townhouse is actually one of my 2 residences in the city.
Yes.
My other one where I do my actual business is up on that
Mountain Peak, yeah.
Fuck off high up mountain, bro. And then it's called the House of Wind.
Yes.
And that's where they do their business proceedings. And that's where we will be having dinner later tonight.
Yeah, but as they're walking, she's like, how the fuck is this place legit?
She's all upset.
Valhalas, is that how you say it? Valhalla?
Valaris.
Valaris. And it's been hidden for a millennia.
5,000 years.
Yeah, and this annoyed me. She's like, oh, how were you able to, everyone else was suffering around you and you were able to make this place so beautiful. I was like, what a good job he did.
I was
That was
literally-
annoying me.
I was like, what do you expect him to do?
You can never please Feyre.
Honestly?
Yeah.
Good point. That's a great
that was
observation.
jarring to me, eh?
So yeah, she's all upset about like how could you keep this place safe and not the rest?
Yeah.
Prithian's huge, Feyre. Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? Just because you winnowed from one place to another doesn't mean it's
saved a
small.
whole town.
He saved a city.
Yeah.
But he also did say that like the city was unknown to Amarantha, but also unknown to everyone else in Prithian. And it's been that way for 5,000 years.
Yeah.
And he kept it that way.
And when Amarantha was ruling, he would get into the mind of anyone who knew and take that away or
Kill him.
destroy that.
Yeah. He like talks about how like he did really bad things to keep this city safe, but I'd do it again.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how honest he is.
Yeah, honestly. He needs to teach Feyre a bit of his mindset.
And he starts facts. He does start to talk about so he's got an inner circle.
Yeah.
And it's him, his second in command, Amren.
Yes.
Third in command, Moore.
Yes.
Fourth in command is, I believe, either Asriel or Cassian.
Yeah.
And fifth in command is, again, either Asriel or Cassian, with vice versa. And so he actually he talks a little bit about Amren.
Yeah, he's not high fae.
No, Amren's a girl.
She's a girl.
Amren's a girl, bro.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
And Amren
She's not high fae.
Amren's not a fairy.
I didn't really understand what
She's
she
not
was.
high fae.
She's something ancient.
So she's older than Prithian itself.
Yeah.
She is older than the Prithian being sectioned into courts. Basically, he believes that she's a few millennia old, which is like a couple thousand years old.
Yeah.
And I think, she's like 8,000 years old or something crazy like that. But also, there's like a crazy power that resides in her. And
But she can't use it.
She can't fully use it. And he just explains that like, he basically is saying like, just be nice at this dinner we're going to because you're going to meet my
He's kind of scared of her.
Yeah. Oh, no, he is because she's more powerful than him.
Yeah.
She's I dare say the most powerful in Prithian. And
But she was reborn somehow, or
she's the same as Feyre.
yeah, she's
she's not
only
the
one
exact same.
That's the same. Yeah, she was. What is it that they're saying about Feyre? She was. What are they saying about the
So
difference?
Feyre is a human turned into a fairy,
Yeah.
like a high fae,
Yeah.
right? But so she's a high fae. She's an immortal body with a mortal soul.
Yes.
She has a human's heart still, but she has an immortal body.
Yes.
But she's the only one of her kind. And so it's all like kind of cool, right? She's got they think she has all the powers of all the High Lords.
Yes.
And basically, while it's kind of random, like while he's explaining who Amren is, or they're talking about something, she accidentally slips into his mind past his shields. But she doesn't see much apart from herself through his eyes.
Yeah.
And she's like, holy shit, I look like a fucking... I look like shit, bro. She's like, I look terrible. No wonder he's asking if I'm eating, right?
Yeah.
I look terrible.
Yeah.
And she's all like, disgusting. And then I believe chapter 15.
Well, they realize that because she slipped into Rhysand's minds, he's like, oh,
yeah.
interesting.
He kind of goes, he's like, she's like, were your shields down? And he goes, no.
Yeah.
He's like, interesting. And the funny thing about Rhysand is he thinks all these things, and then she does something and proves what he's thinking, but you never know what he's thinking. So he'll go, interesting. She goes, what? Were your shields down? He goes, nah. And she's like, and then he's like, I'm thinking maybe because I was one of the people to give you a part of my power. My shields thought that you were me and let you in. So basically, she's going to have the fucking sickest Daemati power there is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's called again. Is it called Daemati, Mind Readers?
Yeah, Daemati.
She's a Daemati. Basically, it's fucking hectic.
Yeah, and that's where chapter 15 ends. And also, no one can winnow into the House of
Yeah,
Wind.
not a single person can winnow into the House
Mate,
of
his
Wind.
power is insane what he can do.
Rhysand?
Yeah.
Oi. Rhysand,
Yeah.
bro?
Built different. Built bloody different.
I just want to touch him.
All right, chapter 16.
Okay, so basically, she gets flown up to the house.
Yes.
And she gets all dressed up for it and shit. And then Rhysand flies her up to the House of Commons. They go in there for dinner and they land and they're talking. And they're doing that thing again, actually. I think they've done it once before. Well, this could be the first time they do it, where he's like, I don't know why he does it, but he's kind of like getting her to talk. And he's like, I'll tell you something if you tell me something. They do like a thing for a thing. And it's like something no one knows. So they kind of give some secrets and you get to learn some stuff about Rhysand, learn some stuff about Feyre. But then Cassian and Asriel, who we haven't actually properly met yet, they come. And she talks about them and that's when she goes like, honestly, like she talks about Cassian being like kind of, I don't know, shorter in bulk and like looks like a beast. And then she talks about Asriel and she's like the much more handsome out of the two. And I don't know why she says that.
The dramatized audio, though, I really like Cassian's voice.
Yeah, it's so
It's
sick,
really
bro.
satisfying.
Yeah, Cassian's voice
He
is fucking
sounds like
sick.
a good bloke.
Yeah, I'd like to hang out with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're both Illyrian warriors.
Yes.
And they kind of chitty chatty, and then I think Moore comes in and is like, let's
And
go
then
sit the
Amren
fuck
arrives,
down,
yeah.
and then Amren's arrives. So then they're
Well,
all
Moore
sitting
was
down.
the only one who dressed up too. They were all like
Yeah.
chilling in like whatever they were wearing that day. And then
Yeah,
Moore's like,
yeah.
I wanted to impress Feyre.
And so then they're all sitting down. Amren arrives. So Amren's at the head, Rhysand's at the other head. Or I think no one sat at the head or something. I don't know. And then we start to learn a little bit about like basically this whole dinner for Feyre is to see if she wants to work with them. And I don't know if they know that because
No, they didn't. Only Rhysand put that in Feyre's mind. They didn't know that.
Yeah, and like they're just having a mad cash dinner, right? And first of all, what I want to say is Moore and Asriel be fucking.
Oh,
I reckon they've got to be talking like Feyre. The way that Feyre is like talking about how they look at each other.
Yeah. She says it later in the book. She's like, "What's going on there?" And then Rhysand's
like, "Don't meddle with this."
Yeah, keep that to yourself.
He's like, "You might not want to talk about that. You might want to keep that in the old noggin there, Feyre, because there's a bit of history there you don't know about, you young bitch." So
we learn about
Rhysand's
him. Inner circle. So firstly, Cassian was a bastard, born in the war camp.
Yeah, boy, they're all
And
bastards.
he was the best fighter Rhysand's ever seen.
Still is.
Yes. And Cassian was the one who, they were in the camp together and he was like a bastard and had to go like live in the woods and stuff.
Yeah, so Cassian was a bastard, and the Illyrians are like fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Their breed of Fae are like, they're not fairies even. Their breed of fucking whatever they are. They're just like super fucked up, and they're like really bad to their women, and they are also just like trained to be warriors, right? They're like really good at fighting, and they have power, but only a few of them have power. And the way that they use their power is like, their power is like super messy. Like their magical power is super messy unless they have these like stones that siphon it. They're called siphons. And then they can actually like do shit with it, like make shields and swords and stuff. Cassian, bastard, basically just like beast, learning to fight. And then Rhysand, when he was young, gets like, he talks about his mother's backstory. Let's be real. Like it's kind of boring. Like,
Yeah.
you just get to like, and then he goes in, they basically start training together. And Cassian just like looks at Rhysand and goes, little fucking High Lord's son, eh? Let's go. Fucking, how about this? We fight. If I win, I get your clothes. And he fights, fucks up. They basically both get like lashings or some shit. But then he realizes Rhysand, because he's like a High Lord's son, at this training in the Illyrian training camp, he gets to go back to a tent and have a hot bath and a bed. And then he sees outside that Cassian doesn't have anything. And his mum's like, oh, he's a bastard. Like, they have to fend for themselves. And if they survive, they survive. If they don't, they don't. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And so he goes and wakes Cassian up, brings him into his tent. And they still hated each other.
Yeah.
But then they realize, like, a couple years later, even once Azriel, he also then comes to the camp. Again, Azriel's backstory, we haven't really known much about. But he's just a beast. But Azriel is a shadow whisperer.
Wasn't he a spy master?
He's a spy master, but he's a shadow whisperer.
What does that do again?
So he just like talks to the shadows.
Oh, okay.
It's a very rare.
Yeah, okay.
And so they all trained together. Everyone hated them. And then they realized, well, we shouldn't hate each other because we should just like each other because everyone hates us. Why not? And then they started to love each other. And then Rhysand's dad gets all scared about how fucking strong they're going to be as a
splits
people
them up.
and splits them up. Rhysand goes to do something with the war. Cassian just is a foot soldier. And then Azriel becomes Rhysand's dad's personal spy master and shadow speaker or whatever. And basically, we just learn about their roles and how the only two high fae in the room are actually Mor and Feyre.
Yeah.
Rhysand was born, his mum's an Illyrian, and his dad is the High Lord, but he's not purebred high fae. And then Cassian Illyrian, Azriel Illyrian, Amryn, who knows what the fuck she is.
Is that where we found out about Rhysand's mum and how their dad met too, and the dad saved her and didn't clip her wings?
Yeah. So like the Illyrians to the women, as soon as they bleed, they clip their wings because the reason that Rhysand has wings is because he's part Illyrian. The Illyrians have wings, and so she loved flying. She really tried everything to not get her period, and then when she finally got her period, they were going to clip her wings, and they just used them for breeding. Rhysand's dad winnowed in to talk to the Illyrians about something to do with the war that was coming, and noticed that she was tied up about to get her wings clipped, and they had a mate bond instantly, got her out of there, had a baby, Rhysand. But yeah, that's why he went back to the Illyrian camp.
Yeah, exactly. And after they all open up to Feyre, she then tells her story.
Yeah, which is like kind of boring compared to theirs.
Yeah.
Which we know. We know her story.
But at the end...
Dead mum, shit dad, shit sisters. Yeah.
Cassian says and offers to train her.
Yeah.
And that was the first time he realized that Tamlin was so controlling. And he's like, oh, these people actually like want to help me.
Yeah, she was like, you want to train me?
He's like, what do you mean train me?
She's like, wait, Tamlin and Ianthe, bruh, the fuck? They really did want to keep me powerless, those motherfuckers. And then she goes, for some reason, I don't know why she doesn't just say yes straight away. She wanted training. This is why Feyre jars me.
Yeah.
She wanted training from Tamlin. She wanted training from Lucian. She wanted training from Ianthe, right? Yeah. She's like, please, 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 please. They're like, no. Cassian, the best fighter in Prythian, I'll train you. I'll think about it.
Yeah, what?
What?
Oh, crazy.
Pisses me off.
She's jarring.
She is jarring.
But the end...
what we learn about Mor's background.
What was her again? She was...
there's so many backgrounds, but it is what it is. Let's talk about it. So, basically, Rhysand's court is under a mountain.
Yes.
But he doesn't like that court. He calls that his occupation. He actually likes Valaris. That's his court. But his dad's closest inner circle, once Rhysand came into power, he brought his current inner circle. And he was like, if people disagree, you disagree, I don't give a fuck.
If you don't like it, you can leave.
If you don't like it, you can leave. I don't give a shit. Yeah. And they left. And now what happens is the court under the mountain, called the Court of Nightmares, which Mor is from, is basically just like its own court. It's Rhysand has nothing to do with it apart from the fact that he is their High Lord. But I think what happened was his dad's ex inner circle basically just runs the Court of Nightmares now. They have their own lords, whatever, it is what it is. But Mor is from there. And she just was mad powerful for it. Again, she got her period, and their family was going to marry her off to a powerful family because it makes her family powerful. I remember now.
They were all hyped to like get her more, and then her family like, yes, we're going to breed and be rich.
And then I don't really remember how she got out, but she got out.
Neither do I. No.
I don't really remember.
There's so many backstories going on.
It is what it is. There's so many characters. And then Amryn, you don't really get a backstory.
No.
We do find out something sus about Amryn that she doesn't eat. Or she doesn't eat food. But she eats something. And Feyre's like, I don't want to learn what it is. And I'm like, again, can you ask so I can know? Yeah. He's like, can you ask so I can fucking know, Feyre? Seriously. But we end the dinner with, I think, Rhysand's kind of like can tell that Feyre is keen to work with them. So he goes, okay, what we're really here for. the war. And he goes, I believe Highburn is going to come and he is going to bring war with him. And I believe the way he's going to do it is by resurrecting Jurian.
Mic drop. Oh, I knew it when they said
You knew that Jurian had something to do with this.
in a court of
Thorns and Roses.
Thorns and Roses when they said it went missing, and they're like, but how? And they're like, we resurrected Pharaoh. They can do it again.
100%. He's like, well, we resurrected Pharaoh. We did it once. We can do it again. And then they talk about how they need to go to the prison and talk to the bone carver.
Which is scary. May have answers. And Amron suggests only Pharaoh should speak to him.
No, I think basically.
Because Amron's been in the jail.
So yeah. So Amron. Okay, so he says the way we get answers is we need to go to the prison and we need to speak to the bone carver just to make sure, because for some reason the bone carver knows all because he's also ancient as fuck. And I believe Cassian and Azrael and more are all just like, no, come on, please, no, not that guy.
Yeah.
And then I think Cassian is like, no. Azrael offers to go.
Yeah, that was what happened.
And then Rhysand goes,
I'll take Pharaoh.
he goes, no, if anyone's going, it's Pharaoh and I. I think someone suggests Amron and she goes, I'm not going there.
Well, this is another, we find out, was another ploy from Rhysand to develop Pharaoh's abilities.
Yeah.
But what I liked at the end, I don't know if it was the end of that chapter. No, I think it was the end of this chapter.
Yeah.
I think Sarah J. Maas / Pharaoh said, what's with all these fucking names? Because this chapter was long.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? Bone carver, all these places. And it's just like, why can't you just call something for what it is?
Yeah.
And then Rhysand's just like, wait till you hear about the rest.
Yeah, what did she say? She goes,
That was relatable.
she was like, what's with all the names? Like, why is he called the bone carver? Why is this person called this? I'm pretty sure it was when they're talking about the weaver, which we'll get to.
Yeah, I think that's
She's
what
like,
it
why don't people just have names? And then what does he say?
He said it was something, well, it wasn't exactly this. It was like, this is at the beginning.
Yeah,
there's so
he
much
was
more.
kind of like,
Just wait. Yeah, don't jump to conclusions.
Okay, so then chapter 17. So from the dinner, they basically go back to bed and it kind of starts. She goes back, she's going to bed. The next day she's going to the prison. She's like, fuck. And then she has a crazy nightmare. Can't really remember what the nightmare is. Got to do with Amarantha. I don't know. She's going to kill her or something. And then she's freaking the hell out. And then she wakes up to Rhysand, who's coming. He's like, hey, wake up. You're okay. She's like, oh, I'm in Valaris. It's me. I'm here. And blah, blah, blah. Gets up, vomits. Cool. Again, what's new? Honestly, how do you make someone vomit less quiet? Sorry, more quiet. But she vomits.
Yeah.
And then Rhysand goes and comforts her, tells her about a nightmare he has, and then she vomits again, and she goes, next thing I know, it's dawn. And so then he winnows her over to the Western Isle, where the prison is. And you'll learn a little bit about the prison.
You can only walk up there. You can't win up there.
You can winnow to the island, but you can only walk up to the prison up the mountain.
Yeah.
And then it's older than Prithian. There is prisoners in there that have been there since before Prithian, again, had even been made. And
Bro, sucks to be a Fae and go to jail because you can't die.
fact. And then Rhysand's the only one that can send people there. So basically, because it's in the Night Court, it just has fallen under his jurisdiction. But he can't control it. He can send people there, but he can't tell people
Yeah, he says,
he can't.
I take sentencing very, very seriously.
He can't pardon people in there.
Yeah.
He can't have someone released from that prison.
Yeah.
So they get there, they have to climb up, and basically Pharaoh just goes, I can't do it, and he winnows her home. Boring. That's the end of that chapter.
So boring.
Chapter 18. Okay, so a lot happened here, guys.
Yes, this is a very fundamental chapter.
Yeah, so basically she wakes up, because the last chapter ends with her getting winnowed home. Rhys is like, no questions asked. I'm not going to force you to do anything. It's your choice. Which I do like about him.
Yeah.
But I don't know, push her a bit.
Yeah. It was a bit soft, eh?
Yeah, he's a bit soft.
And
but
we didn't mention, she's so scared to go back into, in quotes, some type of mountain.
Yeah, she's just terrified to go in caves.
Yeah.
And shit. Yeah, and I'm kind of like, girl, you're literally immortal.
It's
what
not
are they
the
going to do to
same.
you now?
Yeah.
It's not the same. You were human.
And you were
back
with
then.
Rhysand.
Yeah, exactly.
Mate, he owns this place.
Facts, bro. He says he can't pardon someone, but let's be real. He probably could if he wanted to. So Yeah, he.
Well, Pharaoh wakes up.
She wakes up to Amryn.
And Amryn's like, bitch, here you go.
Yeah, she's like, honestly, no wonder you're so skinny. You vomit every night. You're such a pussy. And then she goes, here, I was a prison in prison.
Yeah, I was a prisoner.
For a long time. I was a fucking prisoner in that bitch for a long time.
So Recent said he can't get anyone out. How'd she get out?
With the amulet that she gives Feyre. I don't know how she got the amulet, but she goes, okay, take this. This amulet is dead set the only reason I got out.
I love how she's like, take this, but if you don't give it back, bitch, you're dead.
Yeah. She's like, take this. If you're wearing this amulet,
yeah,
they cannot hold you in this prison. But if you try to keep it,
wait, do you reckon?
Feel my wrath.
When I read that, I was like, do you know how the placebo effect? You know, like if you're sick and someone gives you like a pill and be like, this will make you better, and it doesn't do anything, but you feel better. Do you reckon that bracelet actually did anything?
No, fuck no. Yeah. I reckon she was just like, I'm sick of this bitch being a pussy. Yeah. Like, seriously, we're on a time crunch here.
Yeah.
We're on a bit of a time crunch here, okay? Jurian's going to be resurrected tomorrow. But basically, so then now she can go in.
Yes.
And she learns a fair bit more about Asriel, Cassian, and more and stuff. But again, let's leave that up to the
Asriel was
reader.
like tortured by his brothers and stuff.
Let's leave it up to the reader.
Yeah.
So then
let's get to the good stuff in the prison.
Let's get to the good stuff. They go into the prison. She's shit scared. She's like, what's going on in here? But they just keep going down, 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 down. First of all,
you can hear all like people are there, but you can't see them.
Yes.
Yeah, all their souls.
Yeah, it's like she can hear them behind the walls, but you can't see anything. She's like, we've got to be near the fucking bone carver by now, bro. And he's like, honestly, the bone carver, this guy, he's kept beneath the roots of the mountain. We got to go deep. And I want to know what he did.
Surprisingly, he was very helpful though.
Oh, yeah. He's a beast.
Did Recent explain before they went in, you'll see him completely different to I do?
Yeah, he goes, she's like, what does he look like?
Yeah.
He's like, honestly, he looks the way you want him to see him. So you could see him one way, and I could see him a completely different way.
Yeah.
Okay, so then she goes in, and we won't say how Recent sees him yet because, boom. But we'll say, so she goes in, and basically she sees like this little 8-year-old boy.
Which has to play a part in something.
Because he's got to play a part in something because of what Recent saw. And we'll, so it'll make sense, you know what I mean?
You know my prediction how I said Feyre gets pregnant? Last episode I said that?
Oh, she gets pregnant with...
Do you reckon she's seeing her son in the future? Because why else would you see an 8-year-old boy?
Whoa.
That's what I was thinking anyway.
I like the way you think,
because I was like, why the fuck would you see a kid?
I didn't think that deeply. I like the way you think.
Yeah.
But I think... No, I don't think. Basically, they go in there and the bone carver's like, when you listen to the graphic audio, it's got this scary little voice.
Yeah, I was scared.
Same. But Rhysand throws him a couple bones.
Yeah. And
he's like, here, these are the bones that Feyre used to kill the worm. The worm of Midgard or whatever it's called. And he was like, oh, damn. And even she goes, I didn't know anyone kept that. But like, he's the bone carver for a reason. I don't know. You got to give him bones and shit. And then basically he just knows all this stuff. Right?
Was it like, you got to tell me something and I'll tell you something, and then Feyre tells how she was resurrected?
Yep.
And then Rhysand's like, don't give too much. Your turn, bitch.
Yeah, so he goes like, a truth for a truth again, right? He's like, he asks a question. He's like, what did you see when you were dead? And he knew who Feyre was and stuff without even having met her. She goes on and he asks 6 more questions or something like that, 5 more questions. And then Rhysand goes, stop. You said truth for a truth. You're at 6.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck, excuse me for being interested in death, bro. All right? She's like one of 3 people to be resurrected, okay? Like, I'm just interested. And so she goes on about stuff. She even talks about, like, basically she gets to ask some questions then. And what they learn about is, which we haven't had too much to do with, is the cauldron.
Yes.
So the cauldron, and everyone, like, you know how, like, with people in our world will be like, oh my God, people will be like, oh, buy the cauldron in Prithian. And so the cauldron is what made everything.
Yes.
And the cauldron was all powerful, did all these things, but then some bad people got their hands on it, and then it did all bad things, and then again, more good people came in to try and steal it, and he gives a whole history on the cauldron, and then what happened was the cauldron itself got put in a lake, but disappeared years ago. What happened was the feet of the cauldron got ripped off. Doesn't really do much to the power. He said it's the equivalent of like ripping the tip of your finger off. It takes away some of your abilities, but not all of your abilities. But they were hidden in 3 separate
Temples.
temples. 2 of those temples have just been ransacked
Yeah.
by Highburn's fucking little spies, bro. Because Highburn has the cauldron.
Yes. Bum, bum,
And he also has 2 of the feet of the cauldron because he needs all the cauldron's power to, yes, resurrect Jurian.
Yeah.
Because they say to him, they ask him, in theory, if you have an eyeball and a finger of someone who is dead, could you resurrect them with that? And he's like, well, no. But was the soul attached? And the soul is attached to the eye of Jurian's eye. So he's kind of like, yeah, bro, Jurian's coming back.
Yeah, it's funny. So Jurian, though, so his soul's attached to his eye. So his eye's obviously just been able to see the past 50 years of Amarantha ruling. He's obviously going to get resurrected, but like...
But here's the thing.
What's that done to him?
The war was 500 years ago.
So he's seen some more shit.
Yeah, like Amarantha only came back
50 years ago.
Or like a couple hundred years ago and then like gained all the trust and shit.
Yeah. But we are then introduced to potentially how to combat the cauldron, maybe.
Yes, he does kind of go on and goes, but there is a thing called the Book of Breathings. And the Book of Breathings, after the war, was ripped in 2. One of them went to one of the High Lords of Prithian, the Summer Court, by the way. The High Lord of the Summer Court. The other to the Queens of the Mortal Lands.
Yes.
Now, what has happened with these 2 books is the High Lord of the Summer Court has put a blood spell on that book. So if anyone that is not of his blood was to even look for that book in his court, the book would turn into dust, lost forever, which is needed because what this book does when it's put together has the spells to almost like render the cauldron useless.
Yes, nullify it.
Because what the cauldron can do is bring people back from the dead and shatter the wall.
Imagine Amarantha comes back.
That'd be cool. Honestly, that'd be a cool story.
But also, they say only someone made like Feyre or Jurian can use it. So that's why Feyre is the key.
Yeah, that's why Feyre is the key. What else do we find out?
I think that was the end. It just basically, Rhysand was only assuming that King and the King of Highburn had the cauldron, but it was like, yeah, I was right. All right, that's good.
He kind of knew it.
Yeah.
And then, and so he's like, to the Bone Carver, who has the cauldron?
Yeah.
And Bone Carver's like, you already know.
Yeah.
You just came here to get the fucking truth. You just came here to get the actual 100% truth. You already know the King of Highburn. And then when they leave, she's like, I saw an 8-year-old boy. What'd you see? And he goes, I saw Jurian. He goes, bro, I saw fucking Jurian.
Yeah.
Which almost, you know what it does? I reckon it confirms that Jurian is going to come back.
I think he's definitely going to come back. 100%.
He's 100%. They're not going to be able to stop it.
But that was the end of chapter 18, and we're up to chapter 19.
Guys, yeah, we got shit to talk about. They go back to the House of Wind. They talk to the Inner Circle. They say what they learnt from the Bone Carver. Cool. Right. Basically, Feyre is the only one that can actually touch and or read said Book of Breathings.
Yes.
But they need to be able to locate it. Now, Rhysand believes that she can locate it. And the reason being is because the High Lord of the Summer Court is like part of Feyre, basically.
Has tracking abilities.
So like basically she should be able to track anything. And the reason he believes this is because she got past his walls, his shields. Yeah. And so now that he's like, well, basically if that's true, like if what I think is true, you can actually track anything that any of the High Lords have hidden. And so he's like, let's test this shit. I have something I lost. And the person who has it is the Weaver.
He's like, what the fuck is the Weaver?
And then this is when she starts going, why doesn't anyone just have a name?
Yeah, that was it.
But basically Cassie and Azriel and Moore,
don't do it.
They're all like, what?
Idiot.
Don't send her to the Weaver. I imagined it like a sitcom. Don't send her to the Weaver.
Like, what's the Weaver?
And so he's like, kind of, what happens here? He's like, they kind of go off topic for a minute. And they go, okay, cool. So basically, we're going to test if you can track shit because you're going to go get my thing from the Weaver. Cool. Then what we're going to do is try and go to the Summer Court so you can track that shit from the High Lord. But also, I want you to be my emissary, all right? I want you to be my emissary of the Night Court to the human realm or something, whatever it's called.
Yes.
And she's like, okay, cool. Your sister's manor, it's a good neutral base.
Yeah.
We need that shit. Because we need to get the trust of the humans. Because what we need is there's a spell put on the mortal queens, the human queen's book of breathings, because they got half of it. The spell that was put on that is that the only way anyone can get that book is if they receive it from a queen via the queen choosing to give it to them because they trust them.
That was it. Yeah.
Or turns to dust.
Yeah, and her being the emissary would allude to the queen's trusting Feyre.
Yes, because she used to be human.
Yes.
So,
But also,
we'll talk about that.
With that, they say, all right, you gotta get the trust of these queens, but also Feyre puts 2 and 2 together about this. So we're getting a book, right?
Yeah.
I've only just been able to read.
Yeah. And he's like, girl, hands up.
Yeah.
Part of my plan all along.
And then she was just like, oh, so you wanted me to read because of this? And he's like, to be honest, like everyone should be able to read.
He's like, Farry, it was embarrassing that you
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah.
It was embarrassing that you couldn't read.
And then he's sort of like, don't judge me for it. And she's like, oh, to be honest, like, kind of makes sense.
It's like, it's hard to judge.
Yeah.
It's hard to judge. But, so, yeah, basically he goes on to say, like, when we go to the Weaver's lair,
Yeah.
you should feel almost drawn to my item. Okay?
And she's like, what if I don't?
And I'm not going to tell you what it is because that defeats the purpose.
No, the Weaver could hide it and it could be anything.
True, the Weaver could have turned it into anything.
Yes.
So it could be anything. So when you go in there, she's actually not going to know you're there.
Yeah.
She's blind.
And deaf.
And deaf. All right? But her other senses do not... She is fucking dangerous, all right?
Yeah.
And so when you go in there, you should feel drawn to it. Now, again, only touch my thing because you will be invisible when you touch it.
Stitch up for bloody from recent there right there, but
Stitch up.
Yeah.
Because I think he lied. And so then...
and he says, here's like a little knife if you take a sword or something in there.
She'll know. I don't know.
Yeah, she'll be able to know. So that's the end of chapter 19.
Yeah. Chapter 20.
This is the Weaver's test. But, so they winnow there and Cassian says...
Cassian really doesn't want him to go.
Yeah, Cassian's like, no, don't
do this to Feyre. Don't do this.
It's not fair, which is kind of like alluding to the fact of how much of a beast the Weaver is.
Yeah.
And they walk away or something. Cassian, they're like, we're doing it anyway.
They just leave. They winnow there.
They winnow to the
Neutral,
cottage.
The
Yeah.
neutral forest.
Yeah.
And we find out the neutral forest is the same area of land that under the mountain. So if Amarantha's under the mountain court was. And that neutral land is like the middle of Prithian where there's no laws, no court.
Even Amarantha was scared to take it over.
Oh yeah, no, Amarantha didn't go after the Weaver.
Rhysand was trying to stitch Amarantha up and be like, yeah, take it, it's worth it. And she didn't fall for that trap.
So here, basically, the Weaver is fucking crazy powerful because she could have killed Amarantha.
Yeah. And now we're sending Feyre in. Doesn't make any sense. And Feyre is like mal-deprived or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is funny. So they're talking about Cassian and, how does Rhysand bring it up? He did it in such a playful manner.
He goes, he's kind of like, so much to Cassian's like despair. And then she's like, oh, so yeah, he just cares about my well-being. And he's like, honestly, I think Cassian just wants to fuck.
Yeah, that was what he said. He just wants to fuck.
And she goes, pig. And then he's like, I think he's offered to help.
And then she actually took the bait and she's just like, well, if he wants to fuck, send him to my room tonight.
Yeah. I was kind of like, ooh, sexy.
And then Rhysand's just like, well, you got to survive the Weaver first.
You got to survive the Weaver. And then she kind of realizes that he's distracting her because like flirtatious banter is what like distracts her.
Yeah.
He knows her. And so then as she's about to go in, he's like, did you like it when I was on my knees for you the other night?
Yeah.
Because he was like suiting her up to go somewhere. And he was like, did you like it when I was on my knees for you the other night? And he's like, I could feel it through the bond.
It's sort of like, you've done this with girls. You know when you're like talking to a girl, but like you both don't want to admit it yet.
Right.
And you're like, what about Jake? And then she's like, shut up.
When I was reading this, I was fucking, I could feel, my heart was beating.
Tension.
Bro. My heart was beating, bro.
Yeah. I wanted to say this chapter with the dramatized audio, bro, game changer. Game changer. So
made it very good.
Feyre has to go into the Weaver's cottage.
Yep.
The door was open. I was picturing, I don't think you've seen this. Have you seen this Sword in the Stone? It's like an iconic TV show. It's like a cottage in the middle of the woods and there's a crazy witch in there.
Okay.
And I was picturing that. Just this tiny little thing. It was almost mortal. And so Feyre goes in, the door's open. I was like, weird. And she's singing and the dramatized audio of the singing was scary.
It's creepy, bro.
Yeah.
And she looks like a little girl.
Yeah.
Black hair, skinny, frail. You don't see her face for a while.
Yeah,
and she's weaving. She's like, I came here on weaving day. She's like, And she's like looking at this back wall and she's like, bro, what the fuck is all that? She's like, is that human and like fae skin?
Yeah.
It's like all these like, it's fucking scary.
I was picturing like, one of those old sewing machines and like, I don't
That's
know,
what it is. Yeah,
the
no, that's what it
skin
is.
going in it and
Yeah.
then weaving into like almost a cone of weed.
That's what it is. That's what it is. But basically she's in there. I don't feel anything. And then she feels a tug.
She kept like, it's a very intense situation, but then she kept like thinking of thoughts about just like, oh, I'm back, like just talking. She was talking about like how she's scared still, and then she's like talking about Tamlin a little
Yeah.
bit. I was like, bitch, like think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a bit
think about
weird.
the project at hand.
Yeah.
Legit.
But yeah, something starts to call her.
So she goes over, tippy toes, finds it, picks it up, and then
Boom, door's closed.
the Weaver goes silent.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, fuck. And then that's the next chapter.
Yeah.
Chapter 21. The Weaver stops singing and she goes, who's in my cottage? And we're like, oh, fuck. And when in the graphic audio, when she says, who's in my cottage, I'm kind of like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I know.
I'm in your fucking cottage. I was like, bro, I'm in your cottage.
Oh, it was scary.
And then Feyre looks at the door. She's like, I've got the ring. She finds a ring, by the way. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's what the thing she found is. She found a ring. And then she's like, oh, shit, okay. She's like, I could bolt for the door. Bolts, door, closes, locked, no handle.
Yeah,
Fuck, what do I do?
doorknob's gone.
Goes to the window. Window,
Locked.
there, but you can't go through it. It's like fucking shielded or some shit. She's like, oh my God, what do I do? Where does she go? Up a fucking chimney, bro.
No, so the Weaver looked at her, then we find out the Weaver's eyes are just like bags and they're black and scary. And then she's
They're
like,
like pits.
holy shit. And then there's a candle next to the Weaver. And
Yeah.
she like sneaks around and throws it on all the fucking Weaver cones
Yeah,
behind
and
her.
puts everything on fire.
And the scary dramatized audio is the Weaver's like, ah! And then she goes for the chimney and she's climbing through. And there's human or fae fat
yeah.
being burned in the chimney.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Yeah, and
so
Feyre-
the Weaver basically eats fucking fairies,
Yeah,
bro.
and then Feyre's going up the chimney, and she's like, "Really, I'm so weak. Tamlin's made me so weak."
Tamlin this, Tamlin that. How about have a fucking crack, Feyre?
And then she gets stuck in there, and then the Weaver comes up and back, "Ooh, who's trying to escape through my chimney?" Grabs a brick, throws it in her face.
she throws a brick at the Weaver's face. And then she forces herself. She's like, I am strong. I am a wolf. I am the wolf.
Yeah, what's with the wolf?
I am not the fucking doe.
Yeah.
I am the wolf. And then she gets out somehow and she gets up on the roof and she's like, she thinks it's a Thatcher roof and
Yeah.
she realizes it's not, it's hair.
Yeah.
She's like, ew, 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 ew. Jumps on a tree. The Weavers like run outside. Who's on my roof? She jumps onto a tree, runs on the tree branches. She's like, this is my ball. This is my game. And then she said like,
Where's
you can hear
Resand? Where's Resand?
yeah, you can hear the Weaver in the distance
Yeah.
getting lost. She's like, whatever, cool, I'm out. And then she finds Resand and she's like, Resand's like, what did you do, bro?
Yeah.
He's like, you didn't really make that subtle.
He was so chill about it, but
Yeah, he did.
it was so scary, but.
And so, yeah, she realized that Resand lied and wanted her to be seen
Yeah.
to see how she would handle a stressful situation. And she didn't very well.
No.
And so it urges her to go back and she does ask Cassian to train her.
Yeah, and then we found out that I was thinking at this point the ring was going to be some like really important thing.
Nah.
And then basically it was Resand's mother's, and he got it, and then the mother took it back and then gave it to the Weaver.
Yeah, for keepsake.
Yeah, for keepsake. And Rhysand, when he was ready, was eventually going to take it back somehow. And he's like, "Oh, here's my opportunity."
Yeah,
to get
he's
my
like,
ring
well,
back."
fuck it, I may as well get it.
And it seems like the ring doesn't even do anything.
I think he's just going to fucking probably ask Feyre to marry him with it or some shit. I don't know. And then he is like, well, if you're going to get Cassian to train you, then you should train your powers too.
Yeah.
And she's like, who's going to train me? You. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, honestly, you and I will kill each other. And he goes, hey, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And so then he says, try and get through my shield. And she tries.
Oh, this bit was good.
She tries. And he goes, look, valiant effort, but sloppy.
Yeah.
But try again. Tries again, nothing. But then he lets her into a very little secluded memory because he's powerful as fuck. He can do that. And he actually traps her in the memory.
yeah.
She's like, I can't get out of this memory, bro. And he's like, just stay, just wait. And the memory is Ianthe on his bed, buck naked.
Yeah.
Titties out, fucking
Legs
just,
open.
Boy, legs open. And he's like walking into his room and you hear, and then she just says something, I don't know. And then he goes, get out.
Get out of my bed. Get out of my
And
court.
she kind of talks about Ianthe looking kind of sexy. She's like, perky boob.
Yeah.
And so Rhysand's like, get out.
And she's like, breed with me. We can have the most powerful offspring
Yep.
in all of Prythian.
Yep.
And he's like, bitch, get out. And then she's like, no, and he sort of like uses his power to like pin her back.
It's actually sick. She comes up.
Yeah.
She gets up. And she's like in the memory, Farrah's watching the memory, and she's like, she gets out of the bed, and each step, those perky boobs having a slight bounce. I was like, come on, what's the detail? I was like, thanks, but okay. And then she's like, comes near Rhysand. Rhysand uses his power, and she just flies back or some shit. And he's like, get out of my court. Do not touch any of the men in my court, or, you know, or else feel my wrath. And then she comes back over, and she's like, come on, Rhysand, like, think about our babies. Think about how powerful they could be. Think about what we could do.
Right.
Think about what we could do. And then she goes to grab his dick. Anthony goes to grab his dick.
Yeah, no.
And he's like, power. Her hand stops, reaps back, and she's like in pain. And he's like, get out. One more attempt, and you're going to lose that fucking hand or something. He's like, you're going to lose your life. I don't know. And then he full on breaks Ianthe's like wrist or some shit. And she's like, ah. And then I don't really know what she says, but he's like, get out of my fucking court.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off, bitch.
Yeah,
and
he's like,
she's
that will heal. Get out.
And then he pushes her back.
I don't want it to be worse.
And then the thing that I think is hilarious is the next part. She's like, and then she doesn't even bother to put her clothes on. And he goes, okay. Foop. And she just flies out of his room with he uses his power and just flicks her out of his room.
Power move.
And then she buggers off, and then she gets let out of the memory. She's like, what when was that? And he goes, I don't know, about 100 years ago. So she's honestly a bitch. And then he teaches her, like, another thing the Daemonti will do is they will let you in.
Trap you
But they could trap you there forever, Farrah, so you need to be careful.
Yeah, and then that was also how she was just like, wow, he cared so much about Ianthe there, but he let Amarantha fuck him all the time just to save his court. And she's like, fuck, he's a good bloke, eh?
Yeah. There's like a part of the book where, a part of these chapters where she's like, why do you let everyone think you're a monster?
Yeah.
You're the complete opposite. The things you did to save this court, you let Amarantha fuck you every night just so this court could stay here. Yeah. He's like, God, I'd do it again. She's like, you actually were under the impression that was going to be there. Like, you're immortal. You were going to be her whore for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And he said,
I'd do it again.
I'll do it again because the people who know me know why I'm doing it, and that's all that matters. And the people who are judging me for the person who I'm not, I don't care what they think.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Which is kind of like, I know a lot of boys like to read self-help books. There's a good little takeaway there.
It's a good little self-help book.
Yeah.
It's a good mixture up in this bitch.
But that was chapter 21.
Yeah.
Chapter 22.
Guys, chapter 22, to be fair, we've like actually touched on everything in it. Mm-hmm. And now what we're going to is the summer. So we're on chapter 23, and the summer court has refused. So Rhysand sent a letter saying, like, can we come visit? And the summer courts refused. They were like, nah. And so they were going to go obviously visit to see if they would be on their side, but also Farrah was going to look for the Book of Breathings. But so instead, Rhysand goes, well, we may as well go to the fucking mortal lands. And we're like, shit. You know what's crazy is I didn't think it would be this quick to go back to see her family.
Really?
I really didn't think so. I didn't think her family was going to be involved at all.
Okay.
Turns out they're going to be involved hugely.
I did think it was quite intriguing to pick their home. I don't know. I was like, surely there's a better option.
Yeah, no, but not really.
Yeah, I guess. Also, they live so close to the wall.
Yeah. And
they have a nice dwelling now.
Yeah, they have a nice big manor.
Yeah.
And so basically they...
So 22 was nothing. So chapter 23.
Yeah, chapter 23. They're getting ready to fly.
Yes.
To the mortal realm.
Yeah.
And so what they're going to do is they're going to winnow to a mile offshore of the spring court.
Yeah.
And Farrah's like, oh shit, Tamlin. Because there's a hole in the wall out there. And so basically Rhysand is going to winnow everyone there. And they're all ready to go. And I think, who asks the question?
No. Well, didn't she just say, like, out of nowhere, Rhysand just expected?
Rhysand just expected her to fly with him,
right?
And then she's looking at the three, Azriel, Cassian, and Rhysand.
Yeah.
She just goes, I'm going to fly with Azriel. and apparently they all pause.
Yeah.
Rhysand gives her a dirty look.
Yeah.
But they all pause, and Asriel goes, "Of course, like
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, if that's what you feel." And so then, yeah, she flies there with fucking Asriel
She just
randomly.
wanted to be in that snack's arms.
Yeah, bro. Like I was just thinking, like, first of all, you want Cassian to come to your bedroom. Second of all, you want to fly with Asriel. Like, come on, you're doing everything you can just to make Rhysand jealous.
Yeah,
like
I know.
seriously, I see the little game you're playing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so
But-
keen for when they fuck.
Do you reckon? Like, I reckon she. Yeah. Like.
Well, do you think
know,
she's gonna like?
I want her to
get
fuck
with
all three.
Do you reckon she's gonna get with any of them?
I want her to fuck all three of them.
I don't think she. Oh.
No, she won't.
I
She
reckon,
won't.
No. Oh, I reckon she might kiss one of them, and Rhysand's gonna get jealous and say something like, "Why are you doing that?"
Well,
With
I don't think Asriel would touch Feyre because
True.
he's definitely with more.
yeah,
Cassian may.
will fuck anything.
Apparently.
Maybe they just kiss, but that's beside the point. So they
They
win
fly to the
her
Mortal Lands.
just outside the Spring Court, and then they go to Feyre's. Well, not hers, but her sister's house, their manor.
And she reveals, I forgot that Feyre actually looks like a pharaoh now. Long ears, long
Yeah.
hands, like taller. And she goes in and then
Well,
she
we
reveals.
forgot a few things too, because the manor is very impressive. Cassian or Asriel says it's even better than some fucking like.
Yeah, he was like, I've seen more wealth. There's more wealth in here than I've seen in some castles. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are hiding behind what's it called again when they hide in the mine?
They're
What's it called?
glimmer.
Glamoring.
They've glamoured themselves.
Yeah, they've glamoured, and she's like, "Oh, maybe they're inside with me, or
Yeah,
they
I
could have
don't
gone
know.
away. Who
Yeah,
knows?"
they're
But-
probably flying. Who
Yeah.
knows? Basically, she goes in and she has to reveal herself to her sisters and like, we thought you were dead. She finds out her father's over in the biggest city on their continent.
He's never home.
And he's doing some dealings, but also he's going to a big meeting about the threat
Of
from
Prithian,
Prithian.
yeah. So they know about it.
So they know about some sort of threat that's coming. And basically we find out that, so she says, Feyre just explains everything. Like every little detail she could explain.
Yeah, we're fucking Ness is a bitch.
Ness is still a
Yeah,
bitch.
Elaine's like really trying to help and
Yeah.
like understand everything Feyre's been through, and Ness is just be like, "What are you doing coming up on our shit like this?"
Yeah, she's like, no.
Yeah.
Feyre's like, so we kind of need your house, and we're just going to use it. And Elaine's kind of like, Nessa's like, no.
Ness is like, "What will everyone else think?"
And then Elaine looks up at Nessa and goes, girl, for 4 years,
Yeah,
Feyre risked her life every single day. She did everything for us.
I forgot that Nessa was older.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then she's like, look, all we can do, the least we can do is fucking help her now.
yeah, but also I also forgot too that Tamlin paid for everything in the manor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, maybe it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't. Even she says that. Even Feyre says that to herself, like, "Oh, this is
She's like,
all
"Look
on
at this
Tamrin's
place."
dime. This is all on Tamrin's dime, isn't it?" Yeah. And so basically, they agree. Elaine goes to get rid of the help. They have servants and stuff.
Yeah.
And then she finds out that Elaine is getting married to a lord's son. The lord hates fairies. He actually kills them for fun. He hunts and kills fairies.
The Lord's dad absolutely despises them.
Yeah, he despises them, and she's like, "Look, I don't mind this. The guy she's marrying, it's her dad that I'm worried. It's his dad that I'm worried about." This is Nesta speaking. It's like it's his dad I'm worried about. Their house is like a prison. He's built walls to keep fairies out, and they can winnow.
Yeah.
But basically, she's like, "Okay, well, I mean, thanks, but." Then they have to like have a dinner together or something.
Yeah, that was the end of chapter 23 and then chapter 24. All right, so chapter 24 is the dinner with all of them. They introduce him. He's like, this is Cassian and Azrael, like Rhysand, yeah. And Rhysand's all nice. And then Cassian's got a bit of like skepticalness about him.
Yeah. Cassian's like, "Grr."
Yeah, he's like, "Ugh." And they all sit down, they're having dinner, and Feyre's not hungry, and she's like, "Oh, I forgot to get the stools with their wings and stuff."
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but they sit down, and there's a lot of animosity. Nesta especially.
Well, it starts off with she looks at the food that's been served.
Yeah.
And
it tastes like shit.
And she's like, God, I would have loved this back in the day. This tastes like fucking ass. And
Yeah.
Nesta's like,
too good for us now, are you?
oh, what's wrong with the food?
Yeah.
It's not good enough for you.
Yeah.
She's like, no.
Yeah, that's how it started, eh?
It's too good for you, blah, 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 blah. And then, what does, she's like, oh, no, she's like, can't you eat our food? And Feyre goes, I can eat, breathe, I don't know. She's
I
like,
can eat, breathe, and fuck.
I can fuck whoever I want.
Even
or
better
whenever I
or
want.
even better than I could before.
Yeah, even better than I could before.
Yeah.
So she's like, fuck off, Nesta.
Yeah.
And then I think Cassian was given a dirty look to Nesta.
Yeah, and she's like, what are you looking at, bitch?
He's like, I'm just looking at the person that fucking let Feyre do everything for her while she was just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I love Cassian, eh?
I love Cassian as well.
And
Cassian hates
Nesta
her.
didn't even acknowledge what he said, just turned away.
Yeah, and he was like, what? He was full angry.
Yeah. I wish they like fought or something.
He was angry.
But basically, the dinner they just sort of get to know each other. And it's like, let's start. Pharaoh's like, let's start again, Nesta. Like, let's start from ground one.
Yeah, and Elaine goes, look, forgive us for
so new to
being
us,
scared.
yeah.
Like, this is very new to us. You have to remember, we grew up with stories about you guys killing our kind.
Yes.
Like, this is hard for us.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Nesta says, and again, if you guys want to try and get the trust of these queens, they're actually going to hate you more than we hate you.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you got to have to remember that.
Yeah, and then they were like, well, we got to write a letter to the queens. But before we do that, like the girls go off to bed, but they're like, can we have 2 rooms side by side? Our powers aren't as good.
Yep.
And then I think Elaine's like, oh, the rooms aren't side by side. And Pharaoh's like, don't worry, we'll fucking...
We'll figure something out.
Yeah. So the mortals, I love calling them that now, Nesta, I hate her. Nesta and Elaine go to bed.
Yeah, Nesta's a bitch, bro.
And then Azriel, Cassian, Rhysand, and Feyre write a letter. Took them till midnight. And
Yeah, they draft up. I want to read this letter. They
Yeah.
draft up like a wicked letter to send to the king.
Yeah,
the queens.
The queens. And then it ends with them going to their separate rooms. Rhysand and Feyre and Cassian and Azriel. And they get in and Feyre's like, I'm not sleeping with you. And Rhysand's like, boom, there's another bed. He's like, bitch, I don't want to sleep with you either.
And then he clicks his fingers and her night clothes arrive.
Yeah,
all
and,
that
and then
shit.
there was some like lacy pair of like panties
and
or
he's
something.
like, yeah, he's actually, Rhysand's like kind of a dick sometimes.
Yeah.
And it makes me laugh because he's like, I didn't know what you wanted to wear under there, but there you go. And she's like, pig. And then she goes and has a bath. And then she comes back and the bed's warm and she's like, thank you for warming the bed. And he goes, Amarantha never thanked me for that.
Yeah.
Get over it. And then he goes, you're going to have to forgive us for disliking your sisters.
Yeah, especially Cassian.
Especially, so Cassian, he goes, I've never seen anyone get under Cassian's skin like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in like...
like 50 years.
Yeah.
But he's like, you're going to have to forgive us. It's going to take time for us to like
Adjust.
warm up to them
Yeah.
because we can't like comprehend what they let you do for them.
Yeah.
He's like,
Which
we can't comprehend that.
is really honourable, I guess.
And it's like fair.
And there was 2 things that the chapter ended on. One was Rhysand explaining he's going to pay Feyre as he pays everyone in his court. He's like,
Yeah,
I've
she has
set
a bank account
Yeah,
with
I've
Valaris.
set up a bank account, and she's like, no, you don't have to do that. And he's like, I pay everyone.
Yeah, he's like, pay
Which
one of us.
I tell you what that. Cut this out if you want. I tell you what that reminded me of. Do you know that clip of that podcast of that fucking guy saying like, I just want my girlfriend to collect postcards. Rhysand, Tamlin's like that guy on the podcast.
Oh yeah, what's his name? Fuck it, the guy, whoever. Yeah.
And
That
then
guy is Tamlin.
Rhysand is an actual good bloke who's like paying him and looking after like their super and their future and shit.
Yeah,
That's what it reminded me of.
Again, and I can't believe that there's bank accounts.
Yeah.
Fucking
Weird,
bro.
eh?
There's these weird things that wig me out.
And then it finished on, I don't know, they're getting to know each other and Rhysand's just like, so when is your birthday anyway? And she's like, the winter solstice.
Oh yeah, because he goes, yeah, I pay everyone, and then he's like, oh, when's your birthday? As if like to get her a gift, and she's
Yeah.
like, oh, it was on the winter solstice.
Yeah.
And he goes, what?
That was just like 3 months ago.
That was like 3 months ago. And then for some reason, he's like very, very intrigued.
He kind of
He's like-
felt
he's-
bad.
He's like, is it really on the winter solstice? I have a feeling her being born on the winter solstice is going to mean something.
Ooh.
Because he was like,
I didn't
were
think
you,
of
he's like,
that.
were you really born on the winter solstice?
Yeah, but that is where chapter 24 ended and we are up to date.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a lot.
That was heaps. I think, I don't want to say too much, but
'Cause
to
he's like-
regurgitate, the storyline is getting so deep and like intertwined and like the detail to get
Yeah.
through is a lot.
So I think what I want is, if like genuinely, if you guys are happy with like this length, this much detail, I'm more than happy to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I just like feel as though it's just so much.
It is a lot of information to get out.
Which is like I'm fine to get it out because we get the notes.
I'm fine to do it too. I'm just wondering if what Sarah J. Maas kind of does is sets it up and then happens. Was this the setup? And then the juice is going to happen, then we can talk about it quicker and get to our predictions. But I do like it when we say our thoughts and feelings as we go.
I reckon we should just like fuck it and we should try a full episode without notes.
You reckon?
Fuck it.
I kind of like the notes, but
True, I do like the notes.
it gives more detail. Let us know in the comments anyway.
Let us know in the comments. But yeah, so that is where we are up to, guys.
So we got predictions.
Yeah.
And then which chapter we are reading to next.
Yeah, predictions.
Ooh.
To be fair, like
It's kind of
don't-
been spoon-fed to us.
I just like didn't really, like what's going to happen has been spoon fed.
Yeah.
So maybe predictions is going to have to wait.
You're gonna leave them on a cliffhanger.
Well, there's nothing to predict apart from the fact that we know what's going to happen.
Is there anything we can throw?
Okay. Look, so we know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Is they're going to be back and forth from the mortal lands,
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to gain trust. They're going to go to the summer court. So let's think about what's going to happen in the summer court.
Okay, what's gonna happen? Yeah, so they're gonna get approval. Or do you reckon they're gonna get approval, or they're just gonna go?
It's a good question.
Okay, so where we don't know is how Feyre's gonna like what her power is gonna become, or like how she figures them out more.
Yep.
I guess that's where we can throw.
Can I be honestly, bro? I don't have a prediction because I don't know where this is going to go.
Okay, I hear you.
Because it's like, you know what it is? You're right. It's been spoon fed to us. Like, I know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
I know that we're looking for the Book of Breathings. I know that. Wait a second.
The cauldrons with the King Highburn, yeah.
They have to go to Highburn.
Across the water.
Remember, they need to go to Highburn.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, shit. That's gonna be scary. Yeah.
So what we're going to be reading is chapter 25 to 35.
We're doing 10 again.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Okay, 10
I
again.
reckon, yeah.
How many chapters in this one? Like 50?
A lot. And I was like 60.
Okay, 60. So, all right, we'll leave it on that. I reckon that's good.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, again, spoon fed.
Yeah.
So we got
So,
much
okay, we'll
information
finish
in
on
that.
thoughts and feelings of the next 10, those 10 chapters we just read.
Mate, I'm just in love.
Yeah. I'm like so surprised how much I'm loving it.
Same.
Like I was loving it prior too, but like I'm in this.
Yeah.
Like it's so enjoyable and like, I don't know, there's something about, as two non-readers, we're talking about it at the gym today, it's so cool to have something so new to us and be like, I've never been so like involved in a book.
No, neither. It's fucking
I love
the
it.
best.
Yeah,
it's so good.
All right. Well, that's the end. Stay bad, guys. You
Stay
heard
bad.
it. We're reading all of chapter 35.
Yep.
Finishing on that.
Yes.